there's been no official word from Prince Andrew's team. I tried contacting his lawyers; they didn't respond to me yesterday. But it may be that he's not considering revisiting the settlement, or it may be that he let that be known simply to test the idea, given how unsuccessful some of his strategies have been previously.
That's true. And I think the public opinion is not going to be rowing behind him, I would imagine, to say the very least. In today's Times 2, Helen Rumbelow asks, will Prince Andrew rue Ghislaine's recent help? The convicted sex trafficker has given an interview from prison in defence, of the prince, but will it do more harm than good? Helen joins us now. Morning, Helen.
Good morning.
There is a feeling, isn't there, that this is stage one in the fight back by Andrew to get back to what he thinks is his due, which is sort of the full royal honours?
If it is, it's a very strange stage one, I believe. I mean, we have seen Prince Andrew give what he thinks was his kind of best shot at a kind of make good interview back in 2019 with Emily Maitlis, which infamously backfired. And here we have a woman who's come out in his support, but unfortunately, she is a convicted sex trafficker talking from a federal correctional institution. And not only that, but I think, this is a woman who is, Ghislaine Maxwell is the daughter of Robert Maxwell. She grew up steeped in newspapers, and she lived her life around the great and the good. Unfortunately, we have to include Jeffrey Epstein, the convicted paedophile, in the same breath as Prince Andrew to talk about the kind of circle she moved in. But she's not naive about the media, but this very rare interview she's given, which is really a really unusual chance to hear her side of the story because she didn't give evidence in the trial. And it's, to my mind, completely deaf and blind to public opinion.
Yeah. But she can't admit to having... The problem is she can't say sorry. I'm not saying she would want to, but I'm saying she can't admit to having... It feels that she doesn't want to publicly say she did this.
No, and she has always maintained her innocence. And in fact, the journalist who interviewed her on this occasion said she is planning to appeal. But there is a way of phrasing compassion, at least for Jeffrey Epstein's victims, without incriminating herself. And instead, pretty much throughout the interview, she is in a state of denial about multiple things. And her attitude towards Epstein's victims essentially is a phrase to the effect of move on.
Yeah.
So she denies that this photo is real, the one that shows Prince Andrew with one of the victims of Jeffrey Epstein.
Giuffre.
But she also denies the victims of Jeffrey Epstein a chance at, grieving. And
the problem for Andrew, it strikes me, I don't know if you agree with this, that he has settled with Virginia Giuffre. I know there's a story that comes out from this that Giuffre was suing Dershowitz, and that's now changed, and that she's now accepted he wasn't responsible. But Andrew has settled. He has, therefore, to whatever extent, conceded that he had to settle. He had to give money to Virginia Giuffre. And everything that Ghislaine Maxwell says, as you say, is coming from a federal prison. So however Andrew looks at it, he's settled with someone against charges of sex abuse, and the person talking about him is in prison for sex trafficking. None of those two factors can change.
No, and this settlement that Andrew has reached, I think, I talked to lawyers yesterday, and they're very, very clear. This is a solemn contract you make to never return to court, and it's only in the most exceptional circumstances that can change. It's not simply that now your mother's gone, you've changed your mind. And in fact, this, I wouldn't say evidence, but this opinion coming from a prison really does little, if anything, to affect that. So it may be, we don't actually know. There's been no official word from Prince Andrew's team. I tried contacting his lawyers. They didn't respond to me yesterday. But, it may be that he's not considering revisiting the settlement, or it may be that he let that be known simply to test the idea, given how unsuccessful some of his strategies have been previously.
That's true. And I think the public opinion is not going to be rowing behind him, I would imagine, to say the very least.
No.
It's a really interesting piece, and it's in Times 2 today, our favourite section of the paper. Helen Rumbelow, great to speak to you.
Thank you.